Hi, my name is Tiago Duarte and welcome to Daily Beats. In today's video we are going to talk about the FPC. And if you are new to this channel, subscribe and activate the notifications so that you know when we upload new videos. And also leave a link, a like in this video. And also if you have any questions or suggestions, just leave a comment below and I will answer all of them. So let's go. The first thing we have to do is to import the FPC or open the FPC in a new channel or instrument. And this is the basic layout of the FPC. With the new update of FL Studio, you now have a vectorized FPC. That means that you can increase the size of the FPC. And this is the basic layout. Here in the left we have the pads, and here in the right we have the controls for each pad. And you can have a total of 32 pads, and as you can see here you have bank A and bank B, all the names of the pads, and here the empty pads from the bank B. And here you have a menu for changing the presets, import sounds, export, everything. You can go ahead and check those out. And here with this button you can toggle between the single bank, two banks, and pad settings. As you can see here, this is two banks, this is single bank, and pad settings. At the top, as we saw here, we have the pads. We can move through the pads like this. And here we have the name of the pad, the volume, the pan, and the pad tune, mute, solo, and scale volume. And here we have some extra MIDI information. For instance, here the notes. As you can see here, we have all the notes available, and most of them already have a name, and you can rename the individual samples to its according to the name. And we have here the cut group or cut by, and this you can use to cut the sample by itself, or whenever you trigger that pad you can cut the sound of a different pad. And the output lets you output the sound of this pad to a different channel. And here we have the pads. First let me add here a limiter, because I know this will be a little bit loud. And I'm sorry if you are listening to construction noises. There are some construction being performed here outside of my studio, and I can't avoid that. So here we have the pads. As you can see, if you click on a single pad, you will change the settings of the pad here. So you can go in this way, or you can simply click on the pad that you want to change, and you will see the different samples for each pad. Here at the top you have a MIDI how can I say, a MIDI menu that you can, for instance, if you click here, or whatever sound you click, or whatever file you click in that menu or option, you will load a different a MIDI file to the piano roll. So let's say we want jazz loops. We go here, and whenever you click in that loop it will update the MIDI information in the piano roll. It's a nice way to have some fresh loops. So, and you can change the sounds here. I have a couple of sounds. I will make a video in the future on how to expand the sounds of the FPC or even FL Studio, but the basic are these ones here, the acoustic and electronic. And you can see we have a lot of nice sounds. For instance, the 808. And if we play, we already have here a loop, so let's go 90 BPM. was jazz. Let's add here a really nice. Okay, so you get the idea. And one thing that is really nice about this FPC is that first, let's go to the default pad or default sounds, and here you can also color correct. Color correct is a term for a different thing. Sorry, you can name and color, give color to your pads like this. If you right click, if you click or right click in the pad, you will launch the pad or trigger the sounds. But if you click with the mouse wheel, you will see an option that you can change this. This is a side stick, and let's change it to this blue, for instance. And also if you go here, you can change the symbol of that specific pad. So let's go like this, snare drum, enter, and as you can see here, so let's change the kick. Let's give it I don't know, red color, and like this, kick drum, and you can change the name. Also you can change the name here, right click again, let's color this green, and snare, and you can change them here or here. And one good thing about this FPC is that if you click here at the top of the sample and you go down, of top of the pad, sorry, and if you go down and still clicking, you will see that you will trigger different velocities. So at the top is the lowest velocity, and at the bottom is the top, the highest velocity. This is a little bit strange. I don't know why they did that, because this would make much more sense if it was inverted. So the lowest volume here and the highest volume here, or velocity, but it is what it is. So here at the top is the lowest velocity, and at the bottom is the highest velocity. And as you can see here, you can have multiple sounds, multiple samples, and they will be triggered by velocity. So here at the top we have the lowest velocity, and as you can see, this sample here is being highlighted, means that this is the sample that is being played. And if we go here, for instance, this is the sample, and if we go down a little bit, now this is the sample, sample 3, and in the bottom will be sample 4, because it's pretty much at the top of the velocity. So this is the nice thing that you can do with these pads. And they did this because if you hit a snare drum, every time you hit, you will have a slight different sound, because you never hit the snare drum with the same force in the same spot, and that creates the dynamics of live playing. And in this way you can also create or mimic or emulate that organic feel of the snare drum. So if you, as you increase the force that you hit the snare drum, it will change the sample. And as you can see here, whenever you click on a different sample, that sample will be loaded here. As you can see, if we click on each sample, the sample note or the sample changes here, so that you can have different, for instance, different envelopes for each sample. So let's say for this one we have like this. For the second one, actually no, you can only have one envelope for each pad, and the pad will be the same for all samples. And here in these options you have pretty much the same options as you did here, but these ones are global for the pad. So let's remove the envelope. For instance, here, if you are playing this sample 1, you can change the volume. So let's mute it. Here, as you can see, you can listen to my click, but you cannot listen the sample. So let's reset it. And now you can listen the sample. You can also pan things right and left. So as you can see the difference. And let's reset that. And also you can micro tune the individual samples. So let's say we want this sample to be a little bit higher. So let's go 200 cents. As you can see, only this sample was changed. We only changed the pitch of this sample. And we can do that for all the individual sounds. For instance, if you go here and you pan this right or hard left, you will listen all the samples on the hard left. As you can see here, this is the global controls for that pad, and these are the global controls for the individual pad, the sounds inside each pad. And here, for instance, we have the pitch, but this pitch is for the entire pad. So let's go ahead, put like this. And after that, we have mute, solo, and this volume scale, volume with velocity. This is the important volume knob. Why? Because here, let's say at the top we have the lowest velocity, and we have this sample playing. As you can listen, all the samples, if we played the samples without velocity, we have pretty much the same type or volume. We can see that here in the output. They are all pretty much around -3 dBs. But if we play it here in the pad, we are playing the sample 1, but with velocity. So we are playing with low velocity, but we are playing sample 1. So that sample will be the velocity of which we apply to the pad will translate to the volume of the sample. I think that was correct what I said, but what I'm trying to say is that if you hit here with the velocity, let's say of 30, you will apply that same volume to this sample. So this sample here plays at -3, but if we play it here in the pad, it will play at around -12 or -15. But if you turn off this scale volume with velocity, what happens is that independent of the velocity at which you play, it will always play the sample at its original volume. So now you see we are playing here at the top, which means low velocity, but we are not scaling the volume of the sample according to the velocity. And the same goes for all the other samples. Of course, that the velocity will always matter for which sample is being played, and we will see how to set up that. And but if you don't have that volume, that knob, this knob here, scale volume with velocity on, you will not have the velocity scaled to the volume. And if we turn it on, you can see the difference. Okay, so let's leave it on. And now we can go ahead and let's try a different, instead of explaining how to output this, let's go and do that with actual sounds. So let's go here to bank B and choose this pad here, pad 17. Let's rename it and let's call it hi-hats. Let's use some hi-hats from the packs. And let's go here and this one here, symbol. So we have a hi-hat, we change the number, the name, the symbol and the color. Now let's go open here the browser and let's go to the packs, FPC and hi-hats. We have these ones here, 3rd cut close hi-hat. As you can listen, even the samples have different volumes, but it's pretty much the same physical hi-hat, you know. So let's go ahead and import the sounds here to this pad. You can simply just drag and drop, or you can put it in the pad. It's the same, you know. And now we have the 6 samples. They are a little bit loud, so let's reset this to 80% and also reset this. This is, let's put it at 80 so that we don't clip our output. Okay, so this is better now. And one thing that we can do also is, so let's say we don't want this, or let me delete this sample 6, delete it here. We can also create a new one and import this one here like this. So there are several ways of creating and deleting sounds inside of pad. And yeah, so now that we have the samples here, one way of selecting the so let's say first off we have 6 samples and we have 100% of volume or velocity, and what I'm going to do is to put 20% for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 10% for 5 and 6. So one way that we can do this is that grabbing this triangle and lowering the volume, so that here in the hint panel we can see that we have active range minimum 0% and maximum 20%. This means that whenever we click on the pad and the velocity is between 0 and 20, only this sample will play. And for instance, if we click here, all the samples play, which might not be the case, might be, might not. If you are laying samples, let's say in a snare, if you are laying different snares, you can do that here like this, leave all the volume to 100%, and you can just simply click on the snare or the pad, and it will play all the samples. But in this case we want different volumes for each sample, so let's go ahead and put this at 20%. Let's do the same for the other samples, so 40%, and this is 40. Let's put it this one top at 60, 80 and 80 to 80 to 90 and 90 to 100. And now, as you can see, let me reset this one here. Let's decrease a little bit of the volume, the overall volume of the pad. As you can see here, now we have the volume scaled to the velocity, or the samples scaled to the velocity. So whenever we hit the pad with a very strong force or with high velocity, it plays only this sample, and after that this one, the 5, the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st. So this is a good way of manually setting up your samples. One way that you can do this automatically is clicking this button here, which is spread even, and this will automatically calculate how much of the sample it should be, how much of the sample we should have for each note or for each velocity. And if you want, you can go ahead and click this one here, which is lock layers, and this will allow you to, whenever you move one, the other one will follow you, or the not follow you, but follow. So if you click this one here, the other one will follow the one that you are clicking. So it will follow your movements, so per se. And this is a nice way of saving some time. So whenever you change or you want to change the velocity, you know that there is no gaps. So let's say if we do this, there is here a gap that no sample will play. You see, I'm clicking and no sample is playing. And this might not be good because you might miss notes. So one good way to avoid that is to lock the layers, and they will always follow one another, and these 2 points, consecutive points, they will follow one another, and you can simply move them more freely and change them however you want. And if you don't want, you can reset everything and click here spread even. You listen? Are you trying? You listen the man's banging the hammer in the wall? Sorry about that. So this is a way of creating here a pattern or a pad with different samples. And so let's go ahead here and put it in let's say A4. I'm not I'm not following the name. This is not a crash symbol. I'm just doing that because I know that F# is already used. And for this one here, tambourine. So I put it, what was the note? Maybe it's even higher. So let's go to C5 here. As you can see here, now we have our, let me put a little bit smaller. Okay. Now we have our sounds and our pad here. As you can see, if I hit or the velocity is very high, I'm playing the 6th sample. Now I'm playing the 5th. Now I'm playing the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. 2nd and 1st. And this is a nice way of making your drums more realistic and more organic. And this might take a little bit of while to set up everything. So let's say you have your own kits or your own samples, and you want to organize them here into a nice layout for your pads. So let's say you have a MIDI controller from Akai or even Contact or whatever. You have a MIDI controller with pads. You can simply put map all the pads to your MIDI controller, and you can just simply drag and drop or insert a different FPC instrument here and have your samples or your kits here, and you can just choose your kits and they will be automatically mapped up to this to the pads. It might take a little bit of effort in the beginning, but it might save you a lot of time when you are producing. And another thing that I want to talk about here is the mixing, the routing. So let's say we put here in the mixer, we put in track 2 the FPC, and now every time I click here we now see that the sounds go to track 2. But if you want, let's say, to put the kick drum in the channel 3, the side stick in channel 4, and the closed hi-hat in channel 5, you can do that simply by clicking on the pad that you want to change and put it in here, output 1. So side stick we want to output 4, so we add 2 to the one that FPC already is. So now we have the side stick on channel 4, the kick drum on channel 2, and the closed hi-hat on channel 5 here, as you can see here, 1 2, 3 4 and 5, 3 4 and 5. And this way you can add effects to your individual sounds. So let's say you want to add some distortion here to the kick. You can just simply go here to the channel 3 and add some wave shaper, and I don't know, let's do something like this. It's a little bit dramatic, but you will see the difference. And you are just adding distortion here to the kick, but the hi-hat and the side stick are not being distorted because you applied only the distortion to the kick. And also another way that you can use FPC is to treat samples. So let's go ahead and let's go here to dailybeats.pt and let's go to piano melodies, which is one of our latest sample packs. And let's say you want, let me go here and choose an empty preset. So let's choose, for instance, this one. You open it in audio edit, you can delete this and the loop, and now you can just simply go ahead and select one note, okay, let's go ahead here and put a snap to 0 crossings so that we don't have the clicking. And you can just simply go ahead and drag this sample over to the pad of the FPC. And let's go ahead, we can also add some kind of envelope, and we can do the same for this pad here. So this is a little bit, sometimes it's not perfect, but we can go ahead and find a place where we will have at least a small crossing here, and the same for here. And now just grab and drag the sample here, and now you have MPC style kind of drum pad, but with samples. And this, you can also do this with Slice X, yes, right, but this, I don't know, it can give you a little bit more control over the samples. So let's say like this, and you can drag and drop. If you like to make your own pads like this, you can just simply go ahead like this and save this preset, and you will have this sample here already set for you to work, instead of going with Slice X and trying to change everything by yourself. Sorry, not this that I want here, slice. medium. So we can have the same thing, you know, the same notes, and even the same you can apply the envelope and everything. The only difference is here in the FPC you can just drag and drop samples and chop them up and drag individual samples to each pad and save that pad for later use. So let's say you, I don't know, you want to change here the pitch of the sample. You can do that with different you can change the sounds of the pads. I think more easily that you can do here in the FPC, because if you, or in the Slice X, sorry, because if you, let's say you sliced this sample, let me see here. So you slice this sample, and if you increase here the pitch, you increase the pitch of everything, you know. But if you go here in the FPC, you will see that you can change the pitch of the individual sounds, and this might be better for you to, I don't know, might be an idea. But yeah, that's it. I hope this video was helpful. We saw how to add samples and how to map them here to different pads and everything. If you have any questions or any suggestions, just leave the comments below. Just leave a comment below and I will answer. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you, and you might find value in using FPC in the future. And if you are new to this channel, subscribe and activate the notifications. That helps a lot. And also leave a like in this video and share it with your friends and other producers, so that you can we can help more people with these tutorials. And that's it. My name is Tiago Duarte. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.